6 hours in Saints over Thanksgiving because of a paperwork screw up, and it was good. I got rested.
Oh, that's a good thing.
I'm
Joe,
blaming
you
my oldest son. He took me to McDonald's at 9:30 on Wednesday morning, and I had a chocolate milkshake, some bacon, and some of those potato patties, and they did not react well, and I
Right.
got dry heaves.
I,
So my humble village priest told my wife to take me to the emergency room.
oh, really? Oh,
that's Commissioner McCarthy's daily diet. I don't know what went wrong. But- All right, I got 4 o'clock here in La Cruz,
And-
Mexico. So okay, so Ryan and other commissioners, if you don't mind, I feel like we'll probably have a lengthy discussion on agenda number 2. So why don't we take number 3 so they don't have to wait all while we're talking about the other agenda, if you don't mind. Anybody against that?
oh, that's fine.
All right, Ryan, let's take number 3 on the agenda, all right?
So for the purposes of the agenda item number 3, we have the application by the entity known as San Monoram Restaurant LLC. Fala IV is the LLC manager, requesting an all-alcoholic beverage restaurant license for premises at 1671 Middlesex Street. This is a first floor, one room is 3,900 square feet. Actually, it should be 3,900 square feet for dining room, kitchen area, and storage room.
Hey, Ron, no, I just hit.
We have, so the attorney, Pete Nicosio, is handling the application. In this, for purposes of anticipating a public hearing, I took it upon to have the Lowell Sun schedule a publication of a legal notice for tomorrow's Lowell Sun paper, December 4th. And for your ratification, the hearing to be held on Thursday, December 17th at 6 p.m. via Zoom. I also wanted to make the commission make it aware that this is the licensee, Monoram Inc. Presently is holding the license since the first of the year. Fala is, some members maybe recall, a year ago at this time, there was an issue with Monoram's corporate status. The corporation was dissolved by the Secretary of State's office. An attorney out of Pete Nicosio's office handled that application, was able to have that entity reinstated. And then I saw in a local newspaper this past summer, the principal in Monoram Inc., Issei Lee, had passed away. Apparently, Issei was suffering with some cancer, and unfortunately, he's no longer with us. Attorney Nicosia sought to have this license for San Monoram to be applied for this license in last summer as a new license. And I told him that if you couldn't do that because the license is already on the premises, it could be a transfer from the Monoram. When I pointed that out to him, I said, you're going to need to have the certificate of good standing from the Department of Revenue and certificate of compliance from the Department of Unemployment Assistance. It was attorney Nicosia's decision on behalf of his client to not pursue that. And since Fala was operating Monoram's business, I said, we'll just leave it as is, given the circumstances of the coronavirus, the COVID-19 mandate, and the manner in which business is operating. It's basically a restaurant, and there would be limited seating. And at that point, I think there was no actual seating on premises at that point allowed for because of the COVID-19 mandate. So now we have the end of this calendar year. Monoram's license was not renewed in the month of November. This would be an attempt to get a new license for the premises effective January 1st or sometime thereafter. Just give you
the update on that. Okay, I appreciate that, Ryan. Good job.
Okay.
It's okay, ratified, I trust?
Yeah, we'll just Motion by Commissioner McCarthy, seconded by Commissioner Krieger to ratify. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
So just to go back to the top, we have our meeting minutes for the last meeting with November 19th, 2020.
Move approval.
Move for approval by Commissioner Krieger, seconded by Commissioner Donahue. I'm sorry, Commissioner Donahue, did you have anything?
No, just
Okay,
saying, second.
Seconded by Commissioner Donahue. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And any opposed? Okay, next.
And then we have the retail license renewal applications that were filed in November. And I provided the commission with the list of those in their agenda items. There are a number of license holders that licenses are not being renewed, that were not filed for renewal. I have not heard from these principals in these entities, particularly I heard from Richard Capello, Cappy's Copper Kettle. He basically told me he was not going to be looking to keep the license for 2021. So he did not file the renewal. The Elks Club, I was surprised there was no communication from them. So they've opted not to renew. Apparently they have other situation going on there that I'm not aware of, quite honestly. And the one package store licensee, Pleasant Spirits, the business closed several months ago. This is at 358 Mammoth Road. The license is still valid till the end of December. The principal of Pleasant Spirits, the young lady that came before you a year ago, whose corporation was dissolved by the Secretary of State's office, she's spots unknown. I can't reach out to her. She doesn't respond. She's not available. The corporation still remains dissolved. There was no effort done, or at least I'm aware of, to get that corporation reinstated. The landlord has moved on. There's a new landlord who's now moved on and has a new tenant opening a convenience store. And I would think probably at some point that tenant would be looking for the license after the first of the year. But that's a story for another day.
Okay. Obviously, for the viewing public, just kind of a synopsis of what's going on and why we have to wait so long here on the renewals of licenses and the calls that have been made to fellow commissioners and councilors concerning how the Lowell License Commission was going to handle renewals for the upcoming year due to the restrictions that have been put upon them, and especially now in the last month with Governor Baker kind of shutting down everybody at 9:30. For the fellow commissioners, I just want to state to you, and unless Mr. Nguyen has received any word, a month ago we had asked for some input from the city council, and by Councilor Rourke, who is then it was supposed to go to the law department for an opinion. We didn't get one on our last meeting, and as of yet, I have not got an opinion as well. So I'm going to take that as this commission will render a decision based on the vote on tonight, and I will ask each and every one of the commissioners to have their stand, and we'll have a vote at the end. So I'll call each by name and say your piece. So Commissioner Donahue, would you like to start?
Thank you. I think as far as the city council is concerned, I think the letter we get from the city clerk indicates there was a motion filed by Councilor Rourke, seconded by Commissioner Nguyen, and they just referred it back to the License Commission and the manager. That'd be one that says, I feel that they are in support of some help being given to the businesses involved. Number two, we have a copy. Ryan has provided us an additional copy of the laws Massachusetts general laws concerning setting of fees. And I believe, in my not being a lawyer, reading of it, that I believe we have the power to set the fees. So I've had some thoughts on giving some relief to the bars and restaurants, perhaps in the area of, and this is just throwing it out for people to consider, and I'm looking forward to listening to others. There being a 50% reduction in the annual fees for the businesses in the city, and a 50% reduction in the common victual and entertainment licenses. And then if a restaurant decides to close, such as we know Warp and Wef and the Old Court have decided to close for the winter, they'd be charged 50%, but prorated for the months that they will not be open this winter. They obviously have to file in a timely fashion. I'm making these arguments because, number one, we know that if they own a place, they're still responsible for all of their taxes, and there are property taxes that they're being assessed. As Mr. Dakota, you know, they come in and check your equipment, and you're taxed on the property taxes in a bar. So I think we need to give them we need to give the restaurants and bars some relief, and that's the initial part of my proposal. Thank you.
Thank you. I would ask that no motion be made until all the commissioners are heard, and that
No, that's
kind of pull our ideas together.
Yeah.
Commissioner Howe? Commissioner Howe?
Thank you. I agree with Commissioner Donahue. There should be some type of relief. I also want to thank Ryan for providing the statute that says we have the authority to set the fees. I guess my issue is not whether we have the authority or not. 4 weeks ago, I had requested an opinion. I had requested the matter go to the entire city council for a vote. And the reason was, and I said the same thing 4 weeks ago, we are employees of the city, and we have a fiduciary duty to the city. We have a duty to the city, not to the restaurant owners. And if we waive fees, there's a budget, there's a problem with the budget. And if there's a problem with the budget, the city manager has to look someplace else to fix the budget, whether it's laying off police, fire, teachers, secretary to the license commission, where's she going to find the money, or raising taxes? So this decision is not made in a vacuum, and we are volunteers. All the other people in this chain of command, the council, the city manager, the city solicitor, who hasn't gotten back to us, they're all on the city payroll and getting benefits. And so we all want to waive these fees 100%. We all want to do that, but we have a duty to the city. And so my question asked 4 weeks ago still has not been answered. So I would be amenable to a deferral of the fees for several months. And then maybe the several months, the city solicitor will have time to get back to us. Those are my thoughts.
Thank you very much. Commissioner McCarthy?
You there?
Yep, go ahead. Mike.
Hey, I kind of agree with Martha. Yeah, we do have the right to make the decision to cut the license fees. However, we did ask for some help from the administration. I remember the council meeting that it came up at. It was referred to the city manager, who said she would be in touch with the city solicitor. And I think we should hear from the city solicitor before we make a decision, because I think the city needs the finances. I'm willing to make some type of an allotment, but I think we should really have an answer from the solicitor so we can make the right decision and help everybody out without hurting anybody. Thank you.
Okay. Commissioner Krieger?
Yeah, I've got 5 rules I use, one of which is, does the owner make a profit? Another one, number 4 is this an excess burden on the city? So sitting in there, I tend to like Commissioner Donahue's plan about 50% reduction and prorated for when they're closed. But I understand the city needs the money. I also understand that a lawyer from way up north, calling Gary, has raised some questions and is prepared to appear before us at our next meeting. What's that? 17th?
Yes. Yes, she is.
So
But that's an unrelated matter to the alcohol. That's a used car matter.
Yep. But there's license fee on the used cars too, right?
Can I just interject on the fees other than the alcohol beverages? As I understand it, the fee for the secondhand motor vehicles, used car dealers, used car agents, used car junk, common victular, entertainment, the public amusement,
Palm readers,
they're set by the city council.
Right.
Okay, all right.
Yep.
okay.
Continue, Commissioner Krieger.
So I'm, I do want to give the city a chance to answer this question. And so I'm not sure that it hurts anybody to kick this down the road 2 weeks. So I'd be happy to kick it down the road 2 weeks. But if they can't make a profit, what do we have? 9 and 5 have not renewing their licenses, 5 earlier in the year and 9 didn't resubmit. Those are businesses gone. Maybe they'll revive sometime. People not having jobs. That's not good.
Understood. Okay. I'd like to touch upon a couple of points, but made by just about everybody here. I agree that the city solicitor law department should weigh in on this. So I share the angst of Commissioner Howe when we have been waiting for a month now for an opinion and we have yet to get one. So I'm a little frustrated with that. This puts a burden on Secretary Wynn of getting out all these licenses. Usually he's halfway through these at this time of the year. So I personally, at this time, before we get the city solicitor's opinion, I'm kind of leaning to where Commissioner Howe is going with that all these licenses fees should be deferred until we get an opinion from the city solicitor's office stating such. And at that point, let's make a decision. If we're waiving the fees for the whole year, we're prorating or whatever. I think we should still should get the city solicitor opinion on this. But until then, I think the strain of getting all these licenses through Secretary Wynn's office is a challenge enough. That at this point, I believe all licenses renewal should be renewed at no cost. So, but I mean, that's not a motion. I'd like to have more discussion on that if
Okay.
other commissioners maybe. Commissioner Donahue, go right ahead.
What is the opinion we're waiting on from the city solicitor's office? If I could ask members, what is it coming back saying we do have the right to establish it or we don't have the right? And as I said, I'm not a lawyer, but what I'm reading is licensed commissions have the right, and we know Cambridge has done something. So I wonder.
I don't
What
want to
is
overstep my bounds.
I want to
Commissioner.
respond to that.
Go right ahead, Ma.
So
Yeah.
we have the authority. We have the authority to set the fees. We know that
Okay,
in the statute. The opinion we're waiting for is we have a duty to the city, not to the restaurant owners. Our fiduciary duty is to the city of Lowell and the taxpayers. So we're waiting for some advice from council on how to handle this.
And
All right.
if I'm not correct, if I'm not incorrect, Martha, is there, I heard that if it may not be that we'd be able to pick and choose which establishments would be able to be prorated or not, or is it all in a unison? So I think that might have been
That's
part
true.
of the opinion. So, like I said, I, I agree with Commissioner, with you, is that should we jump the gun here? But once again, these renewals, it's December 3rd. They need to get out and ready by January 1st for the people that are in business. So, but I agree with you on that one. Commissioner Donnie, do you have anything more to offer, add
No.
on to your question?
No, thank you.
All right. Anybody else with any further comments?
If I,
Yes.
could I add a comment, sir?
Sure, go right
S-
ahead,
Mr.
Brian.
Chairman,
Yeah.
just for the sake of clarification, the businesses that are anxious to get going for the new year, they're doing what they need to do to get the certificates of inspection. I'm getting some information from these business owners. They're doing what they have to do to get their fire inspection, their building inspection. They've paid their fees to the Office of Developmental Services for that inspection. This is called the Certificate of Inspection. Their insurance companies, they're following up on their liability insurance policies to make sure they're in good standing, or at least their premiums have been paid. So I'm not saying that 100% of the restaurant owners are ready and willing to operate. We know they're not, but we do know that there are going to be a number of restaurant business owners, bar owners, who do want to serve food, do want to sell something at the first of the year. They want to be able to, even if it's just limited to takeout, and if they're limited to selling somebody a 6-pack of beer with a meal for the family, to them, that's, they'll live with that, or at least they'll accept that if that's all they're allowed to do under the circumstances with the coronavirus mandate. If you were not to set a fee and you defer the license fee, but for them to be valid in their first of the year, they have to have that license. It would be unorthodox to then claim to, after the fact that a license has been issued, to say, well, you now owe the city 50% of the license fee that you paid in 2020, or you owe 25%, or you owe nothing, if that was the end result. I think with the solicitor, if I had a short conversation with her after our last meeting on November 19th, I think the concern she had, or at least that was expressed to me as I understood at that time, is whether the action of the commission in setting fees would be not uniform. And I think my point was the commission in action, if they're singling out any group of licensees, it would be the on-premise licensees. You would be the hotels, the restaurants, the bars, if you will, the clubs, and the pouring permit licensees. The package stores are a separate entity. They're under a separate section of the law. They have not had their hours affected. Only in recent weeks has that happened with regards to the 1st of November, the beginning of November, when the governor mandated that that type of business would have to be closed to the public, to its patrons, at 9:30 in the night. They're ordinarily closing at 11 p.m. on a given night, so now they have to close at 9:30. If the night was before a holiday, they could stay open till 11:30 at night. So they're only losing maybe 1 or 2 hours at max for their business.
Well, don't forget, Ryan, that hour and a half is just like the bar business. If you,
Okay.
between 12:30 and 2 o'clock in the morning, the registers are ringing twice as hard as they were between 6 and 12:30, believe me.
I
So
understand.
the package stores are being affected as well. So I just want to make sure that we are on a level field. Now, can I ask you a question? And it kind of made a little curious to me. You said it was kind of unorthodox. Are you saying that we should be not charging anything, and why would it be unorthodox to say there is no fee at this time? And then we do
Well, it would-
charge them in July or August.
That's why I mean, say it's typical when you're issuing a license, a fee has been paid to the city treasurer's office for the alcohol beverage license. That's where
I think we're in,
Standard.
I think we're in some uncharted waters here where we're gonna have to be a little bit creative here and, let's face it, now we have 6,000 cases today in Massachusetts with 50 deaths and it doesn't seem to be changing. So, I mean, these restaurants are looking at already April, May and June possibly. Um, at this point, I can, in my good conscience, I can't, I would not vote to charge any establishment, including the package stores, one dime at this point. Until, first off, we get a city solicitor's opinion on what we can and can't do on, if we have to be uniform in doing this, or can we pick and choose? I understand your point with the package stores. As of 3 or 4 weeks ago, they were open to 11, so they may have not taken the hits that the restaurants have. I understand that, but now they are taking the hit. So what is their life going to be like? Starting now till June, July, August, September. We don't know what's going to happen. So my feeling is that I don't even know how these businesses are staying open at this time. But getting back to Commissioner Howe's point, we have a fiduciary responsibility to the city. And if I'm not mistaken, I don't have it in front of me, I apologize, but how much revenue did we generate from a license perspective last year for the city?
$330,000 for alcohol beverages, just
That's-
strictly alcohol licensing.
And you know what? Again, once again, I don't mean to use Commissioner Howell as an example, but that's firemen, policemen, possibly getting laid off as well. So this commission members, I think, understand exactly what's going on and what the ramifications are if we do this or we don't do that. But I'm one to say that we do need the opinion of the city solicitor, but I would make a motion that we would defer all any monies coming into the city until we hear the city solicitor's opinion, and then let's talk about it again.
John,
So-
before we go on to the motion, I have a couple points. One of which
Absolutely.
is unorthodox. That's why they called us, to deal with unorthodox and to do it in a smart way.
Yep.
I would like to hear from DPD, Diane Trad, or one of her people, about how they see the impact of this. They are planning and development. They stir in these waters. With regard to Commissioner Donahue's point about severing things, I could go for that. Sever out package stores from restaurants and private clubs. That'd be fine with me. But yes, we do need to move on. As much as I like the idea of making our executive secretary work on Christmas, I think that we owe it to the owners to move on.
Any further discussion?
I just, and I agree, I'm willing to go along with waiting. It's just, I know the finances are important to the city, but I'd hate to see us lose businesses and have no revenue come out of those businesses if we can't in some way give them some help. And I just thought maybe we could do that. And if we have to do it by not setting a fee for each and every business type that's on our list on the low license commission fees, I'll be glad to get down and we'll reestablish what for a package store is and individual pouring facilities and
And I'm
establish
not
each
against that.
individual one. Yeah.
Let me be sure when I say this, that I'm not against doing that type of thing. But once again, I want to make sure legally we can do this. Can we do this by, just saying restaurants and bars and no, we're not going to give the package store owners a break. So to set a vote like that tonight, I mean, if we're going to vote on it, then it's going to happen. And how about if it's illegal? I don't want to come back here once we get this opinion saying, sorry, guys, we made a mistake.
All right.
So,
Why can't we say, we have the authority to set the fees and we set the fees at 0 from January 1st till March 30th? And then we will revisit the fee at that time.
I think that's a fair motion, and that gives the city solicitor enough time and gives, a breath of fresh air to the owners. I would go along with that if you would like to make that in the form of a motion, Martha.
That's a motion.
I will second that. Do we have any
I have
further
a question.
discussion?
Could I ask
Question
a
by
question?
Commissioner Donahue. Go ahead.
Attorney Howe, is that everybody? We're delaying fees on everybody from top to bottom, package stores, restaurants, bars, everyone?
Everyone.
Everyone, okay. Okay.
All right, there's a motion,
This is just alcohol beverages only, correct?
Right.
Or everyone?
correct. Commissioner Krieger,
Ron, Mr. Chairman,
go right ahead.
as we think about fees going to the city, we also should think about taxes going to the city. So if we put a business out of business, that means there are other taxes
Right.
go away also. So we could be penny wise and pound foolish. Again, another reason for getting Diane Trad to weigh in on this by the next meeting.
And I think that's a good point, and I think that gives them enough time with Commissioner Howe's motion that we're going to do this to the end of March. So we'll let DPD, we'll let the city solicitor office give us their opinion, but we have 3 months to make sure that we have all our ducks in a row.
And the other reason why I chose March 30th is the city budget the fiscal year ends, I believe, June 30th. So at least that
It does.
gives the city enough time. On March 30th, they'll know where they are and maybe the vaccine will be out and things will be better and we can revisit it.
I agree with that. Commissioner McCarthy, anything else to offer, sir?
No, I agree. Let's have a roll call vote.
All right, motion by Commissioner Howe that all renewal of licenses from January 1st to March 31st be deferred. Second by Chairman Dakota. Roll call, please.
Chairman Dakota,
Yes.
Commissioner Krieger,
Yes.
Commissioner McCarthy,
Yes.
Commissioner Howe,
Yes.
and Commissioner Donahue.
Yes.
That's 5 yeas.
I want to thank all the members for your input. I know this has been a lot on our plates. We've gotten a lot of phone calls from a lot of people, but I think this is a fair compromise at this point, and I want to thank all the members for your time.
Move adjournment.
Move for adjournment by Commissioner Krieger, seconded by Commissioner McCarthy. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Everyone have a great evening.
Take
Be
care.
safe out there.
Good night.